That's one way of bringing us in. Welcome back, Amiibros, to Metroid Zero Mission. In the last episode, we acquired the Varius suit, as well as a few more missile expansions, before we're ready to head into Kraid and face the head honcho himself. You see why this was dropped after Metroid 1? Seriously, I'm glad it was, because god, that gets confusing. Ugh. But with the Varius suit now equipped, we are resistant to acidic damage and heat damage, which is very, very nice. We can now explore those areas that were highlighted in orange on our mini-map. And yeah, we want to get these little critters off of us. The only way you're going to get rid of those is if you drop a couple morph ball bombs. Ugh, can't speak today. God, when can I ever speak? I don't know. You tell me. Ugh. But yeah, if you don't drop a few bombs while in Morph Ball, you're not going to be able to kill those little critters. And unfortunately, because I didn't take the proper way, we can't go this way quite yet. And I don't think I ever come back here again. Yeah, see, those blocks are indestructible to our normal weapons, and the other block there near the doorway is a fake block, which is what you use to fall into here. Yeah, and that's how you acquire the berry suit normally, but because we sequence broke, we are punished for our troubles and we have to go back. That reminds me of a complaint people have with the Metroid series, and that involves backtracking. Personally, I never thought that backtracking in Metroid was so egregious that it warranted people not giving the series a try. You know, for me, Metroidvanias are all about an interconnected world that you explore, and the fact that you're backtracking is emblematic of that. I realize that it's not for everybody, and that it can get a little tiring that you've been to the same area over and over again. But again, you know, it's almost like in real life. You know, where you live in your hometown, you keep going past the same supermarket over and over again, and yeah, it can get tiring, but it's part of the world you live in currently, you know? Much like how you going back and forth between many areas of Metroid, like Brinstar, Norfair, you know, it's all supposed to be part of an interconnected world, and I just hit my mic there. Sorry about that, folks, if you see, or if you hear a sudden spike in quality or whatnot, that's because I batted my microphone aside. That's how you can tell I'm a hardcore Italian or bona fide Italian, is that I speak with my hands. And yes, I'm allowed to poke fun at those stereotypes because I myself am Italian. I'm also white too, so it's okay if I call myself cracker. But it's not okay if other people do it. That's how it works. Wild, unnecessary tangent aside, back to what I was saying about backtracking in Metroid. Like I said, I don't think it's too egregious as people make it out to be. It's meant to show how connected the world is, and personally, I'm okay with it. I never had a problem with backtracking in Metroid. You know, and people that play Metroidvanias will probably tell you the same thing, depending on, you know, how fast you're able to get through those areas, that it doesn't become a problem how often you visit them. I think that's probably the problem people have when it comes to backtracking in Metroidvanias, is that probably when it's their first time playing, they're going to be going back and forth a lot of times. Most of the time, like, unnecessarily, but, you know, as they keep playing it, over time, they probably get like they probably get used to where they need to go, and it just becomes memory at that point. But yeah, backtracking tangent aside, right here I'm just going to collect a few more missile expansions because we are clearly not overpowered enough before we head into Kraid. But I figure if the items are on the way, we might as well get them. You know, and again, that's the difference between playing a Metroid game as fast as you can, is figuring out the most optimal way to get expansions to your health, your missiles, as well as upgrades to help you complete the game faster. And I just want to say right now, I mentioned it before, that this playthrough will not be a 100% playthrough, and the reason is that there are a few items that are very obnoxious to get. That super missile right there that we just passed, that is one of the more obnoxious items to get in this game. It requires a certain power-up that Samus acquires in Kraid, and it also requires mastery of a technique using that upgrade. And when we get it, I'll elaborate further on what I mean. And that simple fade out was because I needed to restart the recording session because we are in a brand new area. We're finally in Kraid, and we begin with another missile expansion. I believe that puts us up to 80, I believe. Jesus Christ. 4 episodes in, and we're already at 80 missiles. And it's at this point that I just, fire missiles all willy-nilly. I don't care, because it's so easy to restock up on missiles at this point that they're not that big of an issue. Me personally, I always prioritize getting energy tanks because health is more useful than missiles. I know at this point, only bosses can only be damaged using missiles, but I'd rather have more health so I can tank more hits than being able to damage and kill the boss quickly. You know what I mean? Yeah. What I'm trying to say is I prefer a war of attrition over getting things done quickly. Do you understand why I don't like speedrunning Metroid games? I mean, it's not that I'm not against the idea. I wouldn't mind doing it one day, but I'd have to dedicate a lot of time to mastering Zero Mission or Super Metroid. If anything, I'd feel Zero Mission would be the one Metroid game I try to speedrun the most. And it's not like you're not given anything for getting a Metroid game done quickly. A big point of the series is that if you manage to finish the games as quickly as you can, you get to see Samus without her power suit on. Because spoiler alert, Samus is a woman, in case you couldn't tell by the opening cutscene where she opens her eyes and you can see through the visor. I think they make it very obvious that Samus is a woman in that case. And believe it or not, back when Metroid 1 first released, which I think was in the late 1980s, playing as a woman was a pretty big deal at the time. Seeing a woman perform all these badass athletic feats, it was a big deal at the time because usually in video games, women were reserved for damsels in distress. You play Mario, Princess Peach needs to be saved from Bowser. You play Legend of Zelda, you need to save Zelda from the evil pig monster Ganon, And for that, Samus rocks for that alone. But yeah, here's our next mini boss, Uma, the acidic worm. And this is the boss I was speaking of in the last episode on how if you acquire the berry suit before coming to Kraid, they are a complete and utter joke. They will raise the acid and trying to harm you, forcing you to go up to higher ground. If you're wearing the berry suit, the acid is no problem, because remember, it protects you from acid damage and heat damage. You can literally just stand there and not have to worry about anything. And all you have to do is just go to the other side, and that's it. You just pump Uma full of missiles, and boom. Piss easy mini boss. My god. I mean, you can come here just wearing the plain old power suit, and certainly the fight gets a little bit more challenging, but other than that, no. It's so easy, it's not even funny. But as you saw right there, by turning into a morph ball, we powered up the switches to take us from different platforms, and fuck you, this missile expansion betrayed me. I was trying to kill an enemy right there, and missile expansion kept blocking my missiles. How dare you? I had to waste 5 missiles that I don't really need right now to get 5 more. But defeating Uma lowers the acid, so that's nice. But too bad we're not going to be going back to that area, or we have no reason to go back to that area now. And by holding the D-pad right, we'll go into this area right here. So in order to have these hangers come to you, you're going to have to use your beam attack and shoot at the red circles in order to get them to come to you. Believe it or not, my first time playing this, I had no fucking idea that those even that's how you unlocked it. Yeah, I was a stupid individual. But I mean, it's not like they I mean, what am I saying? Of course they do, because you have to shoot the when you first activate the switches, you have to shoot them in order to bring the lever to you. But I guess like my mind just like ignored that fact, and I was stuck for like 5 minutes. Like I said, first time playing Metroid games, it'll probably take you a little bit longer, but subsequent playthroughs, you'll get used to certain things and you'll remember like, oh, I have to do this. Oh, that's what I have to do. Right. And something that took you like 5 to 10 minutes to figure out will only take you like a few seconds. That's the beauty of just replaying games as well, like specifically Metroidvanias. Just figuring out, what is giving you trouble your first time playing, and then the next time you go at it, it doesn't give you anywhere near as much trouble as it did the first time around. You know. But by bombing a certain wall right in that save room, we get another missile expansion. Booyah! And you can actually see where this missile expansion is on the other side of that room, indicating that there is a way to get there. You're just gonna have to explore. And again, exploration is the name of the game with Metroid. So yeah, this is a longer than normal part, I realize, only because we're in the main area. We might as well just show off everything that we can. Well, at least the first half of it before we get our upgrade after defeating Kraid. Spoiler alert, we defeat Kraid in this episode. Who would have thought? Oh man, but having the Very Suit completely like neuters the challenge in this room, because you no longer have to worry about falling into acid or whatnot. You can just, take this game. It's like a leisurely stroll, And here's something to be to keep an observant eye over. Sometimes the game will throw you a curveball where there will be fake acid or fake lava below a series of platforms. This isn't always the case, as the game will sweep the rug from right from under you in certain instances. But most of the time, if you see lava below, if you see a couple platforms atop of lava, chances are that lava is fake, and yeah, you're not gonna know unless you're curious. But sometimes you just gotta take a chance. And right here, in order to get that missile expansion, we're gonna need to bomb. We're going to need to break some of those blocks, and yeah, I would say don't worry about these little guys right here, because you can just use the speed booster or the catapults in order to destroy them. And booyah, that's how we get another missile expansion. Yeah, because all those blocks up there, those are fake blocks, so you can't springball your way on top of there. So be mindful of that. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, Zero Mission's level design, because it is a remake of Metroid 1, the level design is very confined. I would say Kraid is the worst example of just how confined level design can be. Like, you feel like you're caught in between a wall like every 5 seconds here, or you feel like you're a rat in a maze. Oh man. But the good news is with Zero Mission is that none of the areas feel too similar to one another. They all feel like uniquely different, so you're not just, you don't feel like the previous room you were in was just copy pasted into the next room you're in, because that was a problem in the original Metroid, was that each room you traveled in, not each room, but some rooms you traveled in felt similar to the previous room you were in, causing it to feel like the developers just copy and pasted certain areas in, and it added to the feeling of you being lost, and not in a good way. Like, there are good ways of making you feel lost in a game, and there are bad ways. I can't really think of a good example for a good way of feeling lost, but the original Metroid definitely stands as a bad example of it. I feel you don't want to copy paste too much, or you should never really copy paste areas too much unless you're trying to, emulate a certain type of feeling or whatnot. I know one Silent Hill game copy pastes something. I forget which one it was, but I'm pretty sure fans of Silent Hill can post in the comments and say, dipshit, it was this Silent Hill game? You don't know what you're talking about? No, why you're a Let's Player? Sometimes I don't know why either. Like I said, I enjoy Let's Playing. I enjoy playing video games, and I like talking about them. So yeah. Right here we got a big chonky fucker over here. We gotta pump his ass full of missiles because if we don't, he really hurts. Well, if we weren't wearing the Varia suit, it would hurt even more, but thankfully we have it as a nice buffer. And his brother over here, at least I assume they're both dudes, he's very easy to take care of thanks to Samus being able to shoot diagonally. As I said before, Samus in Metroid 1 can only shoot up and down. She couldn't shoot diagonally. She could only start shooting diagonally in Super Metroid, and thankfully they brought that feature back to Zero Mission. Yes, it absolutely breaks the game, or breaks certain enemies in half, but hey, why can't Samus aim diagonally? What's the problem there, you know? So anyway, by bombing this specific block right here, we can head further down, and I got these annoying ass flies. The moment you collect the items they drop, they will respawn even further. And the only way we're going to progress forward is if we interact with that Chozo statue, that decrepit looking Chozo statue. That's the one question I have with Zero Mission is, what caused these Chozo statues to be so decrepit? Like, was it age or whatnot? Like, I don't know. You know, usually when you see like old architecture like that, it's probably like weather or something that fucked with it. But given how deep we're heading into Planet Zebes, I wonder what kind of like weather caused it to age so much. Better yet, I wonder like how the blocks are connected to the Chozo statues, you know? But regardless, by collecting our second unknown item, we can now progress further into Kraid. I wonder what those unknown items will be. Oh boy, the suspense is killing me already. Seriously, I cannot wait till we find out what those unknown items were. But until then, or what those unknown items are. Good God, my grammar is just on fire today. Or my sentences are on fire today. And we got a swarm of these flying fuckers over here. Again, I'm not too familiar with enemy names in Metroid. Again, I just know of the major bosses and players of the series. That's about it. And we see another block we can bomb over here. Thankfully, a lot of the secrets, or some of the secrets anyway, you know, they added cracks, or obvious cracks to certain blocks so you know where to bomb, so you're not just running around getting too lost here. But here we are. We are at Kraid. We just gotta take care of this boss door over here. We just gotta pump one missile. Come on, open up your eye, sucker. Booyah! Look at that. Pumping a missile into this door. Boy, oh boy, Kraid, you are huge compared to your NES counterpart. Anyway, Kraid is our first major boss, and without a doubt, he is probably the hardest boss in Zero Mission, for whatever that's worth. He'll shoot his little arm missiles at you to break the platforms you're on. He'll also shoot little hangnails at you. His weak point is his mouth. First, you have to fire a missile to get him to open his mouth, and then once his mouth is open, pump more missiles in. I am doing this fight the completely wrong way. You can finish Kraid in about, I'd say, a minute if you're good enough. First time playing, obviously, you know, it's not gonna be that short. But you'll know you're nearly done with Kraid when he has more of a red complexion, red disposition, as opposed to a green one. Kraid's big, but you know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, and just like that, Kraid is kaput. Booyah, so satisfying. And with Kraid defeated, the first door to Mother Brain is now open. Just one more to go. Look at that. So fucking glorious. That's right, suck it, Kraid, suck it. You fell to the most badass bounty hunter in Nintendo. Or basically in all media, but whatever, you know what I mean. And for defeating Kraid, we unlock the Speed Booster. With one major boss defeated, I think we're going to end it off there. Next time on Metroid Zero Mission, we're going to give our Speed Booster a test drive. See you guys then.